in my experience, the most viable, because you have then you have access to several different markets, several different clients. The buildings would then be in use 24 hours a day, and have the potential to generate income, all the time.
Right.
Which I would think is what you want as a developer.
Right.
You being an artist, and I didn't mention the fact that this has, ideal exposure for, for artists. But the realistic issue here is that, at least in the way I see this, I don't know that artists generate a great deal of money. So, from the standpoint of real estate development, is that a market you want to go after? Because of what you do, maybe it is.
That's part of the market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we need to look at how that can be, if it can be subsidized, and how it can be subsidized. Because I don't personally see that as being a cash generator, unless you got somebody that's independently wealthy and you're only going to rent or lease to artists that are already successful.
Right.
It's probably not going to happen here.
Right.
So, we'll have to see how that plays out. But I'd like to be a part of this. I think this is a great project. I mean, the building has so much potential, and I'm actually surprised that it's been vacant for as long as it has. I think that if it were in a different neighborhood, it would have long been gone. But this neighborhood has been, I think, sorely neglected. It's a nice neighborhood, but there's been very little in the way of economic development, north of the Inner Harbor in Baltimore in any concentrated way. Who's this going to be seen by?
I'm recording it for my own purposes at this point.
Well, I don't know. It may find its way on Channel 11 News. Probably not. I'm not that important.
Right.
But, I think that this could be a catalyst for other forms of development.
I believe so as well. Yeah.
The thing is that it's not close enough to Falls Road. See, the other pocket of development happens just on the eastern side of Falls Road.
I know.
And I estimate that to be maybe a little bit more than 1.5 miles away from here. What happens at Wabash Avenue, you've got some kind of disjointed businesses, automobile businesses, car washes, and I think there's a grocery store or two in that area.
There is one right down the street, yeah.
But, it's kind of loosely, it's all standalone.
Yeah, right.
So there's no real concerted commercial development in this neighborhood at all.
Well, and you're sitting, the subway system here is, of course, different than D.C.
Well, the subway system here sucks.
Yeah.
But, it has, should have potential.
Yeah, it does. But Wabash Avenue right there, I mean, you can see at some point, it all depends on who decides to move in the neighborhood, as you and I both know. If the certain kind of folk decide to move in the neighborhood and
changes the dynamic.
Everything changes.
Well, what happens is people come to the neighborhood. People are attracted to neighborhoods for a number of reasons. Number one is the school system.
Right.
And the perceived amenities that are offered in that neighborhood.
Right.
Now, this is, at one time, I understand this was a Jewish neighborhood. That was many years ago.
It was.
And what has happened to traditional history of neighborhoods in transition, I'm not sure if this is considered one of those, but where moderate and lower income African-American families have lived, generally have become more desirable areas because they're generally closer to the business center and they're closer to the areas where people like to come for amusement and for entertainment. And, just there are different levels of services that exist in those communities. This essentially is a suburban, even though it's in the city.
True that.
It's a suburban neighborhood, so the levels of activities that occur, this part of the city tends to roll up its sidewalk after 6 o'clock.
Right.
You don't find a lot of activities on the street after dark.
Right.
But again, that's because of the lack of commercial development. There are no drugstores. There are no entertainment venues.
Right.
And so if there were places that people would go to accommodate various desires, roller skating rinks, movie theaters, drugstores, grocery markets, even doctors and dentist offices or minute clinics, things like that, all those things tend to attract other types of uses. In this case, I think that this building, depending again on the kinds of things you put in it, will become a destination, which is a desirable thing. If in fact it becomes that, and people come here to partake of what happens inside this building, it's going to generate the desire for people to buy the houses around here. And it would then generate additional interest in having other activities in the neighborhood, which could occur in this building or could occur in areas that may be available for development, close by. So thinking about what happens here, I think that the best start would be to look at some type of an activity where, because you got a parking lot where people could come and spend money and be entertained and feel good when they leave, which suggests in the short run some type of alcoholic beverage establishment. I'm not necessarily promoting that. I don't know what the zoning would allow in that. I'd have to look at it. But if there's no objection from the community, and if you were putting artists in here as well, and incubator businesses in here as well, and a place where people could eat lunch as well, so it's a tall order, but this 30,000 square feet can accommodate that and more.
Right, exactly.
Plus, if we do something, even if we're talking about doing the solar collectors on the roof, to put a green roof on top of this building would be a desirable thing too, because that's an added feature. It becomes even more of a desirable thing, and there's certain things you can do up there that might be commercially viable too, where people would pay money to come and be a part of that.
Right.
Because rooftop restaurants are a pretty good thing in New York. They make a lot of money.
True that.
And we don't have a whole bunch of those in Baltimore.
True
so
that. Yeah.
This could be a pretty cool neighborhood for that.
Yeah. True that.
Music, music and art. So you can play on that big time.
Yeah.
So, I can get excited about this.
I heard that.
Wish I owned it. Yeah. So is there anything you want to ask me about this? Because I think I kind of rambled on a little bit.
No, you kind of answered with the questions I had, if I had any. Like I said, the bottom line thing is just I think more than anything else, is to find out what the building tells us in terms of its condition, et cetera, and all the rest of that.
Well, let me offer you a potential scenario. One, you do need to undertake a feasibility analysis. You probably should enlist the aid of several different people. You want to get, kind of a cursory structural analysis done. My cursory feeling is, after looking at this, the building's in great shape structurally. But you want to get someone to give you a written document that identifies where, if any deficiencies might exist.
Okay.
All right. The feasibility study, I think, is important because you need to assess what else is in the neighborhood, what types of uses this facility might be able to support, and then some type of initial financial stab at this thing, and a timeline. You need to put a schedule together, and certainly professionals such as myself or others could assist you with determining when certain things might be available, certain things might come online, and if you have a source of funding at all, then we need to kind of identify all of that.
Right.
So all of this should be a part of that study.
Okay.
The drawings that you have, I think it's very, very good that you have something.
Right.
But critical to that would be to take the existing drawings, to document the shape that the building is in right now, and then to conceptualize what you want done to the building. So there's some things, apparently the drawings you have did not show the full layout of the building, correct?
Now, from the way it looks, it showed up to, the building was, and I'm not certain where,
it was
that part was built first, and then this part was built second.
Right.
And I don't know whether it's where you have.
It looks like that was a logical place.
Right up there, that ceiling up here. Because on the roof, we can go up there, but I think it may be here. You see the beam is wider?
Right.
Yeah.
This looks like it's a logical point. There's a crack in the wall too, so it looks like that.
Right. Right.
Same line as a joint right there.
Right.
So it looks to me like that was a logical point at which this building stopped.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we can go up. Let's go up on the roof. And then
Let me button up a little bit.